dear participants, welcome to a new tutorial from Logi. My name is Joseph and this is my dad Sami. We're gonna be doing a new episode. It's gonna be about learning how to make a virtual joystick.
Thank you, Joseph. As mentioned, this tutorial is part of our mobile game tutorial using MIT Scratch. In this session, we are going to cover how to create virtual joystick using MIT Scratch to be used in your games. And you're noticing that we are creating different parts of the games, so we can after that try to use those strategies and techniques to be able to create our final game. And more than one game. We will not be using that in only one game. We will have more than one example as mentioned. So, but the only thing that I want to emphasize here is that the why the virtual joystick is a very important component. When we deal with a normal games like games on the PC with MIT Scratch, you can use any type of control and it's very flexible to use like the keyboard, the arrow keys, any kind of keys on your keyboard. But when it comes to doing or creating a mobile game, you should focus on anything that is clickable on the screen. So visual component on the screen that you can click. Another problem, when it comes to complicated type of interaction, the problem that MIT Scratch raised that it cannot accept more than one touch on the screen. So when you convert your game to a mobile game, so the mobile will not be able to accept more than one touch at a time. So of course you can remove your finger from the screen and move it to another place, but I mean in the same time you cannot have two touches on the screen of your mobile. That might be changing very soon in the newer versions of MIT Scratch, but I'm talking for now. We need to tweak that. We need to make sure that we use component and controls that will help us to have full like functioning game with that minimal ability to have the interaction with your screen, with your mobile screen. So without further ado, let me move directly to show you what is the aim of this session for today, what we are going to be having at the end of this session. So if you look at the screen here, I will make that more visible, maximizing that. So what we are going to create is that you see this is a projection of a person, and that person will be controlled using the virtual keyboard. So I'll start my project, and as you see here I have that person like moving in different ways. When I release that virtual joystick, it will jump to its center directly, and I cannot drag it further than that space. So you see, like I cannot drag it further than this space, so I can just control the character here in all directions, and even I can control the speed of it. So we will see that like if I'm like closer to the center, that will be slower. If I'm far from the center, that will be faster. So this is very convenient thing. So you are controlling the speed, you are controlling the direction, you are controlling like all those aspects using only one click. So to start, I'm showing that just as the result of our work. So to go directly to create something similar with the character, I will create even the character here. So cop with me. I'm sorry, this is taking quite some time, but it will be very beneficial for you in all aspects. So let's start. So I will start a new file, new. I'll start new project, and as usual, I will let me check if I'm recording, because sometime I get some kind of like lag. Joseph here. Okay. Okay, so For that, let's start. Going back here. Okay, so the first thing that I will do, I will go very fast. I will remove that sprite, and I'll create my own sprite. The sprite that I'm creating is a projection for a human that will be going in different directions. So I'll be going to paint directly, going to the first custom, and I'll be creating very fast a person, like the projection of a person. I'll be selecting the color very fast. Da, 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 da. So normally I like to remove the strokes on the surrounding strokes. So I will use normally that approach. So let's have the nose. You can create any type of nose based on the character that you are going to create. So it's up to you. I'm creating, you can create the hair. I created the hair like separately. You can create your own type of hair based on the person that you are trying to create. So if you want a woman as example, let us create a woman here. So I'll give some kind of coloring, and let's move here, there. And if this is a woman, so it will be something like this. And that, maybe.
Around.
Okay, and you can tweak the shape using different methods. Just adding more than point to do that. I'm not going to waste much time on that. As example for the ears also, this is something that you might be interested in here. Directly copying that from here, and for sure sending that to back. Sending that to back, then copying that to the other side, and also sending that to back. I'll create the eye, like the eye is normally like seen from up there. So I'll be creating something in that shape here, because it's not, yeah. And maybe the eyebrow, this will be white. That would be white. And I'll keep the contour for that one. Very fast, 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 fast. Maybe like this, based on the color of the hair. And inside that I'll be putting the people, and this should be, maybe let's make it oh, too light, much light here. Okay, maybe adding, like, it's up to you to add reflection or not, but for sure you should add people here, a little bit darker
and smaller.
Smaller. Okay, Joseph, and I'll be selecting that. You can create eyebrow too, like it's up to you. I'll make that smaller a little bit, just because it's, we are seeing that from up, and we're grouping that, and I'm copying that to the other side. I'm trying to minimize the time to create the character as much as possible. So I'll be creating her body, and since it's female, should be slim a little bit. And so she's having a green sweater, and I'll send that backward, back, and I'll be putting the hands. So the hands will be something like this, also nice slim hands, and sending that to back. And for that we should get rid of the contour here, so we're moving that. Okay, So this is her hand. We can put some kind of on the shoulder. This is acceptable for female, just like that type here. And let's build the whole hand here. So here we cannot see this if this is the standing situation, so we can see only from the hand a very small part here, maybe minimal. Set that to back and make sure to have the same color as the face. Sorry. So first hand, sorry. And we are copying that since this is the standing position. So the idle position, copy paste, and let's flip it vertically. And this is the second hand, okay? And we are sending all that to back. Okay, so this is static situation. We need to see her. Maybe she's having skirt. Let's draw like what appears normally from her skirt. So the skirt may be a jeans skirt. So let's have only a slight part of it appearing here. Okay, so only that, because this is the idle situation. Okay, so now let's put her legs. So it should be slim, not big, smaller. Okay, and it should be like maybe brown, black. It's up to you. Select the color that you think it's more convenient. I think with what she's wearing, this is the best thing to have. Again, send back, and that's our character. So this is the idle standing position. So I will create another custom here. I'll duplicate. So for moving, I need to do that movement type of movement. So what I will do, I will move that leg to front, and based on that, and that leg to back here.
Why?
And just to make that movement, like just to give that movement here.
Oh, you put another custom.
Yeah, this is another custom.
Mm.
So, and I'll be dragging that, since it is a skirt, so I'll be dragging that here with her leg, so it will be appear. We can just give her a shorter skirt, so we will have to add a small part here, her leg, and that should be having the same color as the face also, and send it to backward. Da, 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 da. Oh, too much. Okay, you see here you have that type of action. Now we need to push that hand back here, and to push all that back a little bit. And that hand to front, and now the hand should be more obvious, and that should be taller, and the hand more clear. Okay, this is the same thing. Now the only thing that we need to do is just to make duplicate and maybe flip everything except for the head, and even for the head we can just do that, flip vertically, and that's it. Okay, and again we push that custom in the middle.
That looks weird.
Right, you'll see when we move everything, that will look very good. Okay, so we need to go back directly to the standing, like we need to duplicate that one too, just to have two status here. So I'll start from the first step, middle, second step, middle, first step, middle, and that's it. So with that in mind, we can say that we did finish. Only one thing that I suggest when moving the character, with that the head will look very, very like fixed. So it is not something that you want to have here. So I suggest going with having the whole head grouped to make it easier for you to move it, and just to try to give it, like, since the hand is moving like this, we can just turn the head a little bit to the right and make it, just squeeze it, or just move it like this. Okay, because the whole body is moving. And we can delete that one and duplicate the one that we have here, and again select all, just to have it like
you should have grouped it all.
I don't need to group it. I will just flip it vertically, and that's it, and move it to its place, to the place that I want it to be in. That's it. Okay, so we have now the walking cycle. So let's go back to our code and test that walking cycle thing. And I can just, as mentioned, like make it that as I need, like smaller or bigger, controlling the size itself. So what I will do, oh, what are you doing? Okay, so Joseph was changing the size. So I normally focus on having that change after we have like everything figured out, but even with that, I think it looks good. Now we will see how it will look very good on that. So let's continue. We will be building, like, let's start with having the control here, adding that green flag. And I know that I'm adding that character. This is not part of the virtual joystick thing, but please bear with me, because like this will be very beneficial to learn more than one techniques at the same time. So when that, and let's go forever, loop forever, and that's it. And let's go next custom. Oh, next custom. So that, and waiting a little bit between those. This will be very beneficial to have it realistic.
0.
So I'll make it 0.1. Thank you. That will be good. So if we run that, you see that our character is moving and it looks good. Yeah? Yeah, it looks like good. So the part of creating the character is done. Now the next step is to you create that virtual joystick. And now, please pardon me, that might contain lots of math. So pardon me and try to cope up with me. I'll try to explain everything. Okay? So what I will do here is to start with creating the base of the joystick itself and the handle of the joystick. So the base of the joystick, I'll go to create another sprite, and the handle of the joystick will be a normal like handle like this. I'll keep those colors till I get everything figured out. So I'll keep that color, and I can give it like kind of between black and, or just give it magenta. I'm not trying just to make it like this is only something that I'll change later on. It's only just to make it more visible. Okay.
From the head.
Yeah, I will move it. So this is the joystick, and I'll make it a little bit smaller. Sorry, a little bit smaller. And this is the handle again, and make it to the center. Then this is essential to move it to the center. Now what I'll create, I'll move that to the corner, of course, where normally you will be expecting to see that kind of virtual like a joystick. And the next step is to create the other part, which is the base of that the base of that virtual joystick. Again, another circle, different one, but that one I will select to have it like a different color. That will be transparent, but for now I'll make it with the solid color, and I'll make it gray in one, just to show you how things will be done. And I'll drag it here, and I'll make sure that that one will be in the button and at the lower level, and that the other one is upper.
Wait,
so
why is this one
this
like
this sprite,
smaller
let's
than
let's
that
name
one?
those the joystick base, and let's name the other one the joystick handle.
But why the gray one smaller than the purple?
Why the purple? The purple is bigger. The joystick base. I'm sorry. The joystick base is bigger. The handle is smaller. So what I'll do, I will order them in the right way. So to do that,
it says that right there.
because we changed the size maybe for that one. No, that one is smaller and the other one is bigger. And you'll see that when I put them over each other. Okay, so what I will do is going directly to that custom and going to the code. And normally the visual joystick, the handle of the joystick should be the highest level because it will be over all the component. So one of the things that I will be very interested in seeing in that is when clicked. So just control it and push it to be on the highest layer. So maybe go to front layer. With that will be in the front layer, and for that joystick I'll copy that to the joystick base. And again, if I move there, it will not be go to the front. I will be sending it to front, then I'll move it only one layer backward. So it will be one layer under that main one. Okay, with that. So if I run that, so I'll see that totally here. Okay. So now it's the time to fix the sizes. So and fix the place. So this is the handle and this is the base. Okay. So I think that the base is too big. So let's go and make it smaller. I'll go here. Make that smaller. And for sure move it to the center. Okay, and again maybe even the handle a little bit smaller.
Yeah, but Dad, like,
and
why
move it
is
to the center.
this one, like,
okay,
the gray one's supposed to be bigger?
You have the right. Maybe we did add something here. Yes, we add a point here and that makes it.
Oh.
Okay, so this is a mistake and this is very good that you figured that out. Thank you for that. Okay, and maybe creating a like a contour for this one will be a good idea too. So I'll be creating something from that same color but darker, and that's it. Oh, same color but darker. I'm sorry, this is taking much more time. Make it a little bit thicker just to make it more obvious. Okay, normally you don't do that. We will make that for sure transparent. Okay, because we need to see sometimes we need to see the component under that one. Okay, so to do that, for sure the base, I'll make the base more transparent. So this is what I'll do. I'll move directly to the code of the base itself, and I will go to change set the ghost effect to 85%.
Like 60 maybe?
Oh, too much.
60?
Let's try 60 as you mentioned. Okay, good enough. So now for what we will do. Okay, so what we will need to do is when we try to move that handle, we shouldn't be able to exceed that part here. So we cannot move it further than this level. So let's use something. I can use some kind of technique. So I'll go to that joystick and I will create, I'll create a loop here. Let's create forever loop. And forever loop. And in that loop, I'll check always if I have the mouse over that component, and if it is down, and if I'm still touching the base. The main purpose of creating that base is to be to provide a zone for the other handle to move in. So if I'm still touching that base, I'm okay. If I'm out of that, I'm losing control. This will jump back to its place.
Yeah.
So again, if I drag it till that limit, it's okay, it's moving, it's controlling everything. If I lost the touch, it will jump back. Okay? So this is what we will do. So we will check three things. If, sorry, go to sensing, and we will sense. If it is touching the mouse pointer, this is the first thing. If it is touching the base, the joystick base, this is the second thing. And if the mouse is down, three things. And we will add AND operator to join all those together. Do you understand the concept of AND operator?
Yeah.
Okay, this and this, and we'll add another AND here to join all that with this.
Now
Now
you put if then.
Yes.
Oops. What?
Oop, oh.
Oh, I think that's like.
I cannot just no. This is right, but I'm trying.
You can't fit it.
Yeah. My problem here is I need to make the zoom off a little bit and just drag it here. Sorry if this is not very visible, but this is good enough.
Oh
Okay, we can just zoom it out,
so
but
long.
yeah. So now this is the if, and this what happens. Like this is so if I have all those three included, I should be able to move that with the mouse pointer. So we can say that move the the X and Y for that one. So I can just go and say here to the motion and say go to the mouse X and mouse Y. Where's that mouse thing? Sensing, mouse X, mouse Y. Else, if we are outside of this circle, jump to the center of what?
Of the joystick base.
Joystick base. So if not, just go to, and again, motion, go to the joystick base. So where I get the joystick base information from, I'll get it from here, sensing, and I'll get it from blah 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 here. So I'll select, I'm talking about joystick base, and I need the X position for that one, and this will be the X position, and I'll duplicate that, and I'll pass it here, and the Y position. So let's try that. Make it bigger. Now if we drag that here, if we leave it, it will jump back to the center. Drag it, leave it, drag it, leave it. But if we try to drag it also outside of that space, it will jump back. So we have what we need. Okay? Now, the difficult part, I'm sorry. So to be able to understand that, we need some like math information. So I'll try to switch to Paint. I'll open Paint here. And I'll switch to that view. Now, what I will do here, I will explain something very important. So, what we need, if this is the center of our base, so this is the center of our base, okay? Now, we are moving our handler, so the center here is the black point here.
Yeah.
And we are moving our handler in one way, there, as example.
Yeah.
Okay? What we need to do to be able to control our character is to have an idea about that angle here. So what is the angle here? So the angle is the orientation, between the orientation of our character. So because when we will be moving our character in any way surrounding that, we should have that character moved in reoriented or change the direction in that thing. So we need to know that specific angle that we are in. The problem is what we have is only the center of our base and the center of our new position for the handle. How we will know that angle? Okay, so normally you will get any angle using a function called arctangent. So tangent. tan tangent, like the
Yeah.
like will that will specify the angle itself, arctangent. So the arctangent will measure the angle related to that specific like line. Okay, and how to calculate that? You get the I will call here what I will call here delta x. So we will be having that distance, and I will call it delta x dx, and we will be having that distance, which is dy. If you divide dx on dy, you will get the tangent of the angle. If you get the arctangent, you will get the exact angle. Okay, so to be able to get that specific angle, you get dy divided by the dx, and you get the a tangent. You use the a tangent to get the value of that specific direction. So you don't need totally to understand exactly what is there, but this is essential. Like you cannot end. So how to calculate dx, Joseph? You know how to calculate that distance from here to there?
No.
So I'll use the green color for that. So that distance is this distance minus this distance, yes? Or I'm sorry, the bigger minus the smaller. And the same for the dy. This distance is all that distance minus that distance. So the bigger distance is the x and the y for our handle, and the other one is the x and the y for our base. So if we if we get the difference between the x of our handle and the x of our base, and the y of our handle and the y of our base, we will be able to get delta x and delta y, dx and dy. Okay, and if we divide those together and get the a tangent, we will be able to get the angle itself. I'm sorry, this might be a little bit complicated, but this is essential to be able to have that answered like in the right way. So let's go back to our screen here with Chrome and continue on that issue. So to be able to continue on that, let's divide and conquer. First thing that we will do, we will create a variable named dx, and this will be for that sprite only. Okay, dx. And we'll create another variable dy. Okay, first let us calculate dx and dy. Okay, so set dx to what, and set dy to what? We said that how to calculate dx and dy. It is the position of our handle minus the position of our base, because this will that will what will specify or identify the distance between those two. Okay, so the dx will be the x of our handle and the x or mouse in that case, because those are the same, and the x of our base. So it will be minus, so go to the operators and go there, drag another one there, and it will be mouse x duplicate and mouse y duplicate minus what, the base x and base y. So that will be from the sensing and getting the we have those here, joystick base duplicate, and this is the x position of the base, and this is the y position of the base. Okay, now we calculate dx and dy, so we know those. Now how to calculate the tangent, which is dy over dx. Okay, dy divided by dx. So let's now create the calculate the arc tangent from the tangent. So I will go to the operator, and I will set to be able to know the angle. So I'll create first a variable called angle, make a variable, and this is for that sprite only. Let's name it angle. Okay. And for that angle, I will go and say set the angle, set it to what? We can get it using, as mentioned, the arctangent. Where's that arctangent? Down there. The arctangent function.
What's ABS?
ABS, this is the absolute that will remove any kind of negative like sign on any component. So arctangent, this is the function that we'll be using, and we said ATN, arctangent. So this will represent the angle that is that will face that specific tangent, the angle. So we are calculating the tangent by dividing dy on dx, and from the result we are applying arctangent. So with that we will get the angle itself, like 90 to 180, so depending on where are we looking. So arctangent and of what? Of dx, dy divided on dx. So we will get the division here, and we'll get dy divided by dx. Okay, and this will give me the angle. Now the angle itself with the arctangent would be between minus 90 and 90. Okay, so let's try that. We calculated the angle. Let's control now the direction of that to be following that angle here. Okay, so let's go to this sprite that we will name it like woman. Okay, and let's try to set the direction based on our control here. So that will be done through the loop forever that we have here, and set direction. Where's that one? Going to motion, and it is point direction. I'm adding point direction here, and now for that angle I will set something called direction, which will be not per sprite. So I will create something which is a variable for all sprites called direction. So I know I'm duplicating, I'm creating angle and direction, but this is to just have everything contained in the joystick, not going outside other than the things that I want to control as external component. So for that one, going back, now at the end here, I will set direction. I'll set direction to angle. Set direction to angle, and this is not the end of it. Okay, or if it is not like if this is not doing nothing here, so I will not do any change if else here. Okay, so I'll run that, and our character will be moving. Then if I move that, I can see that my character is not moving because I didn't create. Yeah, it's not moving because I didn't create anything in that woman thing here. Point direction, and I should use the direction here. Okay, now it is moving, but still not the right way to move. Let's see. You see that when we are moving, all the movement that we get is only in between a specific in half of the, like only toward the right, down, or yeah, everything is down, nothing up.
Like,
it is never looking up.
Yeah,
you see,
it's just switching immediately.
Yeah. This is because the arctangent itself will return only a value between minus 90 and 90 as an angle. But what we will need is something different, because minus 90 and 90, this is half of a circle. We need a full circle. So for that to happen, we will need on that. This is why we differentiate between direction and angle, because the angle, this is calculated through our joystick like angle, but we need to take into consideration the dy if it is negative or positive, to cover the other angle, so the rest of the circle. So see here, this is the part that I'm speaking about. This is why we did the differentiation between direction and angle. So I will set here, if I'll go to the control, and I'll say if, I'll set direction to angle, otherwise set direction, duplicate, set direction to not angle, to angle plus a value. Hello folks, I'm sorry, me and Joseph had to stop recording earlier, so for caused by technical issues. So like I will be continuing on that part that we missed in our previous recording. So let's continue from where we reached. So you remember the last thing that we spoke about is like how to control our character when it comes to like testing if based on the angle that we get from our virtual joystick, to be able to differentiate between two cases, because we said that the arctangent as a function will return only values between minus 90 and 90. So this is something that we should be aware of, and which cover in our case only half of the full circle for the direction. So what we will do is to depend on other factors. One of the factors that we will be depending on is the if the delta x, what we name dx, delta x is less or higher than 0. So this is one of the things. We can use dy too, but like dx is okay. So what we will be doing here is checking the direction. So at first I will put the direction as totally similar to angle, then I will be changing that based on the situation. So I will show you how I'll do that. So I will directly go there and just drag the angle as value for the direction. Angle. Okay, so when we run that one, and if we make it bigger, so notice that the upper one is the angle, and the lower one is direction, and now those are the same. And you notice here that we're having like the value covered from 90 to minus 90. Yeah, and after that nothing has happened, like they will be jumping. So we feel that only half of the circle is covered, nothing else. So what we need to do is to figure out if we are controlling in the where dx, in our case where the handler x is lower, handler x minus the handler of the base is greater than 0 or bigger than 0. So let's try that. What we will be trying to do is to make sure that we have like a kind of minus, if we say like from minus 90 to 90, to have the rest directly mapped to different value, like more value, like to cover the rest of the circle. So this is what we will do. So we'll go back and test if the the circle, I'm sorry, if the dx itself, so this is the value of dx is greater than 0. What's that? What's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of that? So normally dx is the position of the base minus the position of the mouse. So when we have position of x minus the position of the mouse, so when we have the base at the right of the handler, so this is greater than 0. So when it is greater than 0, so we'll be having the angle directly. This is wrong, because as you see, like the orientation is different from the orientation that we need to have. So we need to fix that. Now if it is 0, it is pointing down, so at least we should be moving that 90. So let's say that we need to have, instead of the angle itself, we need to have 90 plus or minus the angle. So from my experience, it's 90 minus the angle, and I'll say like y. Okay, 90 minus the angle, because if we put it 90 plus the angle, that will be moving in the different way, in the other way. But 90 minus the angle, that will be the right thing. So now you see, like the direction itself is okay, but it is okay for that part, only half of the circle, when dx is greater than 0. Now, if you see, when I go that way, so it is jumping. So you see, like I reached minus 90, and suddenly it jumped to 90, so which is wrong. Like I need to continue that to be able, for the direction, you see the direction now is 180. So I need to have something to be added to that, or to be substituted from that, to be able to get that the right direction. So what I'm doing here, notice that the angle itself, look at the number up there, this is the angle and this is the direction. What we need to reach is direction from 0, which is happening here. The direction is starting from 0 to 180, and I'm referring to the the lower number, so 180. Now I need something to continue from 180 to 360. Okay, so what I will need to have is bigger number, and that bigger number should be covering the rest. One of the things that jumped to your mind, just to add 180. If you add 180, so that would not help, because the value for the angle here is going down. So as you see, the higher number is going down. So I need something more than 180. So let's try to have, instead of the angle plus, to have also the angle minus, sorry, the number minus the angle, but let's set that number 270. Okay, with that, if our angle is going from minus 90 to 90, so this will solve the problem to go from 0 to 180. And here, if it's going from minus 90 to 90, this will help to go from 180 to 365, and this is 360, and this is what we need. And if we look at the result here, we will notice that our character is totally moving the right way. Okay, the good thing with that virtual keyboard, I'm sorry, virtual joystick, is we also can control the speed. So what we are controlling here is the direction, and it's something good, but controlling the speed is also something very good. So let's use the distance from the center to control the speed, which is a combination between two functionalities. So we are controlling two things at the same time. using that as one control. So let's control the speed, and I will have a variable added called speed. So make, and this will be like generic speed, like for all sprite I mean. And for that speed, it will be higher or lower based on the distance. So normally to calculate the distance based on x and y, so we have dx and dy, which represent the distance between the handler and the base. So normally what we do is to take the square root of the sum of the dx to the power of 2 plus dy to the power of 2. So this is how we calculate that. Normally I'll go to Paint again. I'm sorry, lots of math in this session. So I'm opening Paint now. Pardon me for that. So normally if I have, so if I have a line here, so if this is dx, and this is dy, to calculate that distance here, this will be the square root of dx for the power of 2 plus dy, sorry for the quality, for the power of 2. Okay, so this is how this is calculated like in math. So that distance, like how long is that part, the one marked in red, because we don't need not dx not dy, we want the combination of those two, the distance itself. Okay, so moving back, what we will do is we will be setting the speed based on the value of x and y, since we have the value of dx and dy. So after we set the dx and dy, we can just calculate directly that distance. So we can say directly here, set speed to, and it will be, as I mentioned, the square root for first. This is the square root for the square root for the sum of, so we will have the sum now. So for, we don't have like the for the power of in here directly. I'm not sure if we have that function, to the power of to power of 10 to the power of e. We don't have that directly here, but we can use like multiplication. So we can just take the multiply here and the multiply here again, and we say dx multiplied by dx plus dy multiplied by dy, dx which represent dx to the power of 2, sorry, and dy multiplied by dy, which represent dy to the power of 2. I'm sorry, lots of math today, pardon me, like this is essential, like we cannot escape that. So let's run that and see the value of the speed with our work. So if speed is 0, if we are in the center, speed is 0. If we're moving, so you see like with moving like further, speed is higher. Going back, speed is lower. So but we need to, after also going back here, we need to set speed to 0. When jumping back here, we need to set the speed to 0. So we calculate the speed when it is like in the when that is happening here, the touching. But when nothing is happening, we should go back with the speed to 0. So directly set speed to 0. And with that, we will have the speed going down to 0, like now. Well, 0 because, and how that will be beneficial for us. So we know that now we can control our character with the orientation, but first we should specify that this will go to idle if we are on speed 0. So let's say here in that custom that is working all the time, if, let's add if to it just to make it more realistic here. If the speed is 0, or if speed is greater than 0, let's put it greater than 0, and this is the speed. Speed. If speed is greater than 0, then do that. Do all that. But if speed is 0, you need only to go to a specific custom, which is the idle custom. So I will just copy those, duplicate there, and switch to that specific custom. So what is that custom here? Let's switch custom to, what's the name of that custom? I think custom 3. Let's try. Nope. It's not custom 3, it's custom 1. No. Custom 4. Let's try it. Stop. So, oh, it's not, okay, because it's totally outside. I'm sorry for that. So now as you see, like it's idle in the idle position, which is custom 4 or custom 2, I think. Custom 1 also the same. So if we run that, so it's idle, but if we move it, it is moving with the speed that we want. When we leave it, it's settled. So we can just also control, say here, add to that, move the motion, move when the speed is not 0. So move like 5 steps. So with that, our character, with that our character will be moving. 5 is too little. Let's make it more than 10. We need to make our character much smaller. Let's make it 20%, and let's make the distance that it will move 10. Okay. With that, now I think we reached, oh, so it's moving the other way. So this is not the thing what we want. The speed, okay, maybe like changing the direction of our custom, or we can just make it do move -10 just to make it easier for us. I don't want to change anything else. We need to rotate the customs, but yeah. So this is happening here. So yes, our character is moving all over the place. See? Okay. It shouldn't be moving faster because our motion is much faster. So that will put the end of our session for today. Sorry for the interruption again. I'm repeating what we did. We created our custom. We created multiple custom, and based on changing the custom, we created the motion and the animation for walking in different directions. We used like a base for the virtual joystick. We used the base, and we used that handler. And based on the handler position in comparison with the base center, we try to calculate an angle, and from that angle get the direction based on adding or subtracting some values from that to cover the whole directions. So that was all for our session for today. Thank you again, and see you in another tutorial.